Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Get out. Like, seriously.
I wish I could.
Like right now.
Yeah, like right now.
Dare! Hello and welcome to the Tomb of the Terrible. I am your host, UncleNecRo, and tonight, fortunately, we have our special guest, Sam, back. Actually, I think you're kind of an honorary member of the Tomb now.
Oh, thank you.
And we also have Tom Dog. Ron and Freddie and Chaos are kind of hiding out in the background, but we'll be getting to them. How's everybody doing tonight?
Better than you guys, because it seems like some of you just finished watching this. So I'm a few months past watching it, and I've been through therapy and stuff.
That explains everything. I watched it last night.
So yeah, you're still dealing with the trauma.
I watched it a week ago, so I'm a week out, and I've gotten over a little bit of the pain.
Are you numb?
Comfortably numb.
I see. See, it always helps to be referencing Pink Floyd at moments like this. Tonight, dear Kindersnitzel, we're continuing down that winding road of the Amityville madness as we're discussing the aptly titled Amityville Mount Misery Road. Released in 2018, Charlie and Bougie, are ghost enthusiasts fascinated by the legend of the scariest road in America, Mount Misery Road. The couple continues their adventure to the woods until they realize they got into a whirlpool of paranormal activities. A whirlpool, people. Whirlpool.
There were no whirls and there were no pools, so I don't know what it's talking about.
So, how many people, this is their first time watching this?
Aye.
And last.
I don't know. This may be a good torture device here at some time in the future, but hi, Sylvia.
So good.
I've watched it at least 4 times.
Good.
I won't lie. I've watched it.
Really?
Yeah, several times, because I watched it and then I made my wife watch it with me because she couldn't believe my description of it. She made it about 5 minutes in, and then before I interviewed the couple, I watched it again to prep myself, and it was very weird because I had it running in the background while I was talking to them, and it was very meta, if you will. Like I didn't think they're exactly like they are in the movie, because he kept saying, "Babe, get on the phone with this guy, babe."
Yeah, that's what I figured. But we'll get to that. Sam, do you remember what your first impression was when you first watched the movie?
I was like amazed that it existed. Like, cause I watched, some of the worst of the worst. And like, I always joke that some things are shot on an iPhone. This is definitely shot on an iPhone. Also that beginning, I don't know if you've ever seen Rock and Roll Nightmare, the movie with John Michael Thor in it.
Oh, yes.
Yes. You know how long he drives in his van? This movie beats the record. There's a driving scene that has like 15 cuts. There's a cut before a turn signal and after a turn signal. It's like the most unnecessary cuts. So I knew I was going to love it just from there, because I was like, okay, no, this is somebody that it takes. Every movie's a miracle, right? That they can happen, that they get put together, that they get put out. This wasn't released, like it escaped. But what I love is like I have a picture of it on sale at Walmart. So somebody, not even like streaming, found it on Tubi. Somebody, that somebody bought this in a Walmart, took it home and said, oh, well, don't you love it's like a gift your grandma would give you at Christmas. Like when she would buy you the wrong toy, she'd be like, don't you love He-Man? And then she'd give you like Galaxy Warriors or something. It was like a generic one. This is the same way. Like, I know you love Amityville, so I got you this movie. And you're like, you don't know me at all. Yeah, that was my impression of this movie. It's something. It's like, it also sets up that something terrifying is going to happen, and nothing terrifying happens other than flashes. It's just like, you want to see a monster, or you want to see something terrifying, and it's just, I don't even know what it is. I don't think there was a script written. I think that they had like just, and the same thing keeps happening. Like I thought that they were in some kind of time loop when they kept going to different bars, and different old men would be like, oh, you don't want to go there. And they'd be like, why? And then they would turn into this fight. And then I've been in these bars. Like these feel like the bars I grew up in. You know what I mean? Like where there's like just like one jukebox and a one-touch machine and people that want to kill you. And they're in the wrong place. They should have never left Florida and gone back.
So what you're saying this movie seems to bend time and space.
It does. Yeah. I talked about it a little bit before we got on. It's like, they would always explain to me, I grew up Catholic, that like, if you go to hell, like 1 second in hell is 10,000 years of human time. So like, that's how long you're going to suffer and how it's going to be compounded. They're right. Cause this movie is it. And I love it for it. Also, I love that the actress that played Buzi is from Poland. She was born in Poland. Can you imagine as a child in Poland, would she ever dream that she would grow up to star in this movie? Like, I guess maybe she did, and dreams come true. But yeah, it's something. I felt really bad, as savage as I was in this movie when I talked to them, because they were both very nice people. But you can also be a very nice person and make a really bad movie. That's another lesson.
Oh, yeah. So, Babe, Tom Dog, Babe, or what was your first impression on this? Are you on mute? We're experiencing technical difficulties.
Many.
We can barely hear Tom Dog.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm a mute.
We'll get back to Tom Dog. But Ron, what was your first impression of the movie?
My first impression of the movie. I'm not sure I had a first impression of the movie, considering all of the really bad Amityville movies that we have watched up to this point. I honestly did not expect this one to be any better or any worse than the ones that we have already watched previously. I did somewhat expect this movie to be at least loosely tied into the Amityville franchise, as many of the other ones have tried to do before this, even if it's just like, oh, hey, this was a backpack that was in the house of the original Amityville house. And it's holding the spirit of whatever the evil is that lurks inside this backpack, and the straps will strangle you and kill you. I don't know, whatever. But this one, when I realized that it actually had absolutely nothing to do with the Amityville series, I was willing to give it a chance. So I got on my phone and did the Googs to find out, why the hell is this one called Amityville when it has nothing to do with Amityville? And it's only because it's in the actual Amityville region of Long Island. And I thought, okay. So then I was I tried to be a little bit more open-minded about this movie. Now, I could be incredibly harsh like I usually am and do my full-on rant, but I decided that I was not going to do that this time, that I was going to cut it some slack for reasons which will become apparent as we go through the show.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, but if you feel the need to rant, go ahead and do so. Tom, are you back?
If the rant happens, the rant happens. I won't stop it.
Okay.
And I won't. There we go. What was
Yeah.
your first impression, sir?
Okay, I agree with Ron. You know, cashing in on the whole Amity gimmick of this, and you know, it should have just been called Mount whatever the hell this name movie is. I'm already annoyed by this movie already.
Mount Pain and Suffering. I mean, wait.
There you go. Mount, what was it? What was the name of the movie again?
Mount
Misery.
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 Okay, well, yeah, that clearly explains the title. So yeah, this it should have been just called that, Mount Misery Road. You know, not putting in the Amityville name to it, it just would have been a whole better movie. Found footage, if done right, I will watch it. This I would say is a way to not do a found footage movie. And Blair Witch is the original Blair Witch is a hell of a lot better than this. And
yeah.
But I'm gonna trash it more during the negatives part. But
yeah, depending on who you're talking to, that's really saying a lot either way. So,
yeah.
Friday, what was your first impression of the movie?
They seemed like they were going to try their very hardest to give us a good movie. They got great artists to help them make the pictures for the website. I love Mothman. I was hoping for a good Mothman story. Then it turned into growling, and I'm like, that does not sound like a good thing for Mothman to try to say. And it just spiraled into whatever it is they showed us. So in honor of that, I have an actual picture of Mount Misery that somebody has taken behind us.
Okay.
Isn't it pretty? It's actually
Yes.
very pretty. But yeah.
Oh. If you squint, you can kind of see where the demon dog is fetching a ball. I don't know. But Chaos, what was your first impression of this movie? Oh, they disappeared. Whoop, they're back.
My first impression was, what the hell am I watching? Because there's just, the camera was just so sporadic.
Well,
Even for a found footage film, it was just way too sporadic.
yeah.
And
yeah.
a lot of it was just something else.
Something else entirely. I'm amazed everybody was expecting a good movie. I mean,
I wasn't expecting a good movie.
Oh, okay.
Far, but
Okay.
I was expecting
You should know by now. Come on.
We are called
Yeah,
Tomb
I'm
of the
not
Terrible,
that
not Tomb of the Great Movie.
It's in the name, people. It's not Tomb of the Oscar-worthy performances. But my first impression, it's amazing how they took maybe a 10-minute YouTube concept and stretched it out to about 70 minutes. And this is probably the closest thing we're going to get to the Turkish Blair Witch Project. So, I have a couple of bits of trivia here. Sam may actually have more here, but what I have down is it's written, directed, stars and pretty much everything catered, makeup, music is done by the husband-wife team of Chuck and Carolina Morangelo.
Morangelo, yeah. Yeah, you got it right.
Okay. Wow. And Carolina is spelled with a K for some reason, because edgy. I don't know. And Mount Misery Road is a real place with a haunted past, as you can see behind Friday and Chaos down there. The movie draws from the urban legends that have sprung up around the area, and we're definitely going to be getting to that. But Sam, do you have anything to add on to pad this out, much like this movie?
The budget was $2,500, and I want to know where the $2,500 was, because they shot it. They do. When I asked him, I said, "What'd you use to shoot this?" And thought maybe he'd tell me some kind of camera. No, all on iPhones. So like the editing was already on an iPhone. Do you know what I mean? Or on a computer. So it didn't get sent out for editing. I assume it didn't get sent out for audio. He wrote all the music for it, because Chuck's old job, he was Marty Bowen from Jefferson Airplane / Starship / Jefferson Starship's guitar tech before he went into real estate. That house is his house in Florida. So he did a snowbird thing and moved to Florida from Long Island, where he lived right next to Mount Misery Road. And he and his wife love horror movies. And one day they were watching a movie and they said, we should make our own. And that was it. It went from there. Somehow they got a deal. I don't know how. He said, yeah, we got a great deal being in Walmart. We made a lot of money off that. I was like, God, it's on Tubi. I mean, it's on every streaming platform. So, they got it on those places. And obviously, if you haven't seen the movie, if you're just listening to us talk about it, I guess he's successful because his wife is half his age at best. I mean, I'm married to someone a lot younger than me too, but like he's, it feels like that it was a mail order bride situation. And you know what? That's fine. No judgment here. If you get successful, these are things that maybe happen. But he looks like a dude that plays in bar bands. Like he lives up to what he is. And yeah, that's him playing all the riffs in this movie. They have a new movie too, which they sent to me, and I haven't watched it yet because, like a band's second album, I never want. You get really into the first album, you're like, I don't know, like I don't know if I'll be ready for the second one. So it'll be something at some point that I'll be in the mood for. Right now isn't it? But I have watched this movie at least 4 times. I own it. Why do I own it? I don't. They sent it to me. That's why. But it's not the worst Amityville movie I've ever seen. Which might amaze you. It's because it definitely is their vision, right? Like this is the movie they wanted to make. Like if you think about that, like they put all of themselves into it. So this is them. This wasn't like, I don't think they're like, oh, this is going to be a movie that makes us rich, or it's just like, I think they were just having fun, and then they were probably drinking back at the hotel, and they're like, we should put this out, and that turned into, oh my god, it's out. It's in Walmart, it's on Tubi, and it's like, they went further with their movie than my Amityville Dollar General has gotten. So
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the worst Amityville movie you've seen?
Oh my god, Amityville Emmanuel is really bad. I hated that movie because I love
which one?
Amityville Emmanuel. I think you guys watched that one.
Oh yeah,
because I was set up. I love all the Laura Gemser Black Emmanuel movies, so like I was expecting like the sorcery and chaos of Amityville with the sleaze of an Italian Emmanuel movie. I got none of this. It was like it was just horrible. Probably Amityville Thanksgiving is really bad. That's all shot on like Skype. And it's just people talking. Yeah, you're lucky. I have Amityville Turkey Day left to go. Amityville Elevator is someone in an elevator, not like Lift or other elevator movies. I mean, literally someone standing in an elevator for an hour and 45 minutes. There's a scream that goes on for over 5 minutes. They just looped. Nothing happened. It's not even like an art movie. Like it's just, I don't know what it is. It's another movie that they grafted the Amityville name on. It was made like 5 years before.
Kind of sounds like the plot for M. Night Shyamalan's The Devil.
Yeah. But that movie, God, I can't believe I said that. That's the thing about watching. I'm sure you guys have learned already. The more bad movies you watch, the movies that normal people think are bad are like Citizen Kane to you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like people are calling M. Night Shyamalan, as I call him. M. Night's movies are really bad. Like yeah, they're bad, but they're not.
Shamalama ding dong.
They're not inept. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes they are, but they're not as inept. Like Old was inept, like right from the beginning. I'm like, of course, I know what's happening. Like the twist is ridiculous, but you know what he's trying to do, and the lighting's good. You don't occasionally just have someone walk in front of the camera, or you know, you didn't shoot it at a loud bar, and you know all the things that happen in these Amityville movies. But yeah, that it's, and you know what? Friday, to answer you, like it's such it's hard to figure out what the worst. Every time I'm like, will this be even worse than the last Amityville movie I've seen? The best Amityville movie is Amityville 2, The Possession. I mean, that's a genuinely great movie. The first Amityville movie sucks. Except Margaret Kidder's in it, so that's good. But like, of the 75 or 80 Amityville movies I watched, I could point to like 3 is good. And the rest are all just like varying degrees of, would you rather get diarrhea or be constipated? Either way, it sucks. It's just a different kind of problem.
Come now. The Amityville Christmas Vacation is an instant classic.
It's all right. I compare that one. I have a friend in that one, so I have to be nice. But
okay.
Yeah. It's not as bad as God. I base everything on, like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen A Talking Cat. Question mark, exclamation, question mark. Yeah.
Yes.
A movie that has Cynthia Rothrock play Mrs. Claus, which is my favorite casting ever. If you can get through that movie, you can do anything. So like, these movies will prepare you for so much, you know.
I might have cheated a little bit. I saw the Riff Tracks edition of A Talking Cat, so I didn't really go in bareback.
I own that one too. I bought that one though because I love it so much. Though to be fair, I bought it at the dollar store. They had it, and I was like, "Well, this seems like the perfect budget for a talking cat." There is also a talking Easter bunny that just came out. I have not brought myself to watch that. So I think it's funny that David Dakota did that movie and Sorority Girls in the Slime Bowl Bolorama, and it's the same director.
I own that one.
Well, that's a good one, right?
It came in that one of those 50 movie packs for 20 bucks.
Yeah. Those are getting super expensive now, though, because people figured out that there's weird stuff on them, so now they're really hard to get. They used to be really cheap and easy to get 50 movie packs. Not anymore.
Oh yeah. So moving along here, this does bring us to our first real question for the evening. What did we like about the movie, if anything? So, Sam?
I like the relationship between I'm going to sound like elevated horror now. You ready? I like the relationship between the lead characters. Obviously they're in love, and this was like a pet project of theirs. So like that part of it was like, you know, there's been times in our lives when we'd all like a love like that, of like being able to convince your wife to go with you to Long Island and make a movie in obviously cold outdoor weather. My other thing I love is at the end when there's the big reveal when they find that cross. It's like a plastic canvas cross. It's like the cheapest cross, and it's like this big. Do you know what I mean? It's like this big aha moment. It's not, and I love that. Like this is like the moment that's supposed to be the highlight, and like do you know what I mean? Like this is when it all comes together, and you're like, what? And that's great. I love that in movies. And I just love that, like, this is an endurance test, and it feels like if you can make it through it, and not like Andy Warhol made that movie Sleep, where it's just like 8 hours of someone sleeping. I've watched that, like, you know, and I've watched like some of his other ones that they're art projects. This is not an art project, and yet it feels like it. It feels like it feels like a marathon of bad movie, because there's just times where you're just like, the camera won't stop shaking. The scene transitions are horrible. Like it's, like if you have, they should have put so many warnings on the beginning of it. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're worried about epilepsy and all these things, you know what they put on this movie should be a test to see if you're okay. Like, because this movie will abuse you. I don't recommend, I don't want people to suddenly watch it and get sick from it, but you know, so when it's over, there's like this feeling that you feel when you get off the treadmill at the gym and you really ratchet up the incline, and you're like, man, I didn't puke, I made it. That kind of feeling at the end of this movie is super solid. So yeah, I like that too. That's my very nice way of saying I like the credits a lot, but I didn't want to steal Chaos' line because he uses that one on these.
Yeah, it's not for the novices, but
No.
Tom Doug, what did you like about the movie?
I actually had a nice soft spot for the opening credits. The way they did the opening was actually really good.
Really?
Um, the font and everything, and the way they turned it into like a red and black at the very end of the opening. I thought that was very creative. Um,
Hmm.
I like the idea of what they were trying to do with this movie. I thought that was really creative.
Yeah.
But again, it had, since it had nothing to do with Amityville, they should have just called it uh Mount Mount
Misery Road.
Misery. Thank you.
Tom, I love that you gave this the kind of review that a grandmother would give to their grandson that showed the
Yeah.
movie. You're like, I really like the font that you used, and it was very creative. Like, it was so nice. That's such a nice review. Because my cousin made a slasher movie once where somebody cut off someone's penis and ate it, and he showed it to my grandmother. It was like a shot on video one, and she said, "Isn't he creative? Look how beautiful the titles are for this." And I was like, "Why would you show that to grandma? Like why would you do this?" But yeah, so that was, I love that you found that. That is like a joy of finding the needle in the haystack. So well done.
Oh,
Yeah.
Look at you. You made a movie. Just, we're going to hang this on the refrigerator.
I love the black and red that you used in this movie. You're
Oh.
wonderful, grandson.
You almost believe there's blood and not ketchup. That's good.
And I do like the chemistry between the two couple. I mean, it is nice, and so I mean, you would expect chemistry like that in an indie film, and so I had a soft spot for that too. So yeah, those were my positives.
Okay. So Ron, what did you like about this movie?
I like that Chuck and Carolina made this entire movie on their own without much help from anybody else. And the fact that they didn't put a lot of budget in there, even though I'm pretty certain that Chuck had the money to put forth to this movie, because you don't get a Dodge Charger and $1 million house in Florida without having some sort of money. Okay? Because let's face it, that was a nice fucking house, man. All right. So I have to imagine that Chuck has got some bucks stored away somewhere, and why he didn't choose to put some of that money toward making this movie a little better, I have no idea. But considering that they shot it on iPhones, and I have a feeling that's probably where the budget went, because iPhones are like $1,000 and they shot it for $2,500. So they probably spent $2,000 on iPhones and then $500 on the editing software, because Adobe Premiere is not cheap. That's probably where the budget went, because obviously they didn't get paid for doing this. It was just like 4 people in the entire movie, and probably friends of theirs. But yeah, I mean, I did like the fact that this was a passion project that they did on their own, with no prior experience whatsoever, and they saw it through to fruition, to actually put it out there and distribute it and get it on streaming platforms, to have it sold in Walmart. I mean, I gotta say that I would have mad respect for Chuck's drive and initiative to be able to finish a project like this and get it out there, regardless of how good or bad the movie actually is. So when I started looking at the credits and seeing that they did everything themselves, and I read the article that was posted and got a little background information, it sort of gave me a new respect for this movie. And for as critical as I could be about the actual, way the movie was made, I decided I wasn't going to be that harsh on it because I feel like that would be me criticizing a friend instead of supporting them for a project that they wanted to do. So I got to give them credit for that, you know, and that's really what I like about this movie is the fact that it was a passion project they saw through to fruition, and you know, whether good or bad, they did it.
Okay. Pause for effect. And Friday, what did you like about the movie?
That they have a similar relationship to Josh and I. He learned how to dye my hair and various other things. They figured out how to make a movie. They're like, hey, I want to do this. And we can go, hey, let's do something like this. And they agreed. They made a movie together. They worked and made an idea. They saw it to fruition. And they did it. That is a great love story. Better than Twilight.
Okay, that seems okay. I'll give it that. I will give it that. But
It doesn't take much to be better than Twilight. I'm sorry.
Oh,
no.
Can I interject one thing?
What?
Yes.
We're talking about their relationship, and Carolina is from Poland, and her character named Buzi in the movie is her actual nickname that Chuck has given her, because Buzi in her native language means kiss, and he'd always say, "Give me a bougie." But I thought that it was ironic that bougie is also a slang term that we use for bourgeois, which is somebody that is upper middle class or you know, has money and they like the finer things, and she fits that to a T. She is definitely bougie in this movie. I mean, looking at the house and the car, like the clothes that they're wearing and all of that, like she's definitely bougie. But I mean, that's a testament to their relationship, and I love that.
I think I agree with you about the cost of this, and I'm thinking that Chuck's a good businessman, so he wrote off those iPhones and he wrote off the software. So like
probably.
They have a product that allows them to write it off. So he made money on this beyond the fact that they figured out how to do it and they learned how to do it on the job. That's pretty awesome. They didn't lose any money, which a lot of people make their first movie and go broke.
Well, so far we're getting a lot of positives, more than I was expecting from this movie, which is in no way going to shadow the rant that I have ready for later. So, Chaos, what did you like about the movie?
I have to agree with Ron on the fact that they did this whole movie themselves was I'm having trouble wording. It's great that they were able to do this by themselves for the most part. Right. And of course, my signature, the credits.
Of course. It finally ended. Yay. But as far as I go, what I did like about the movie, and there's a couple here. First, I'm surprised nobody brought this up, but this is a Christmas movie. There is a Christmas tree in the airport terminal, which technically headcanon makes this part of the Amityville Christmas Vacation universe. So I'm demanding a crossover.
Well,
I tried not to bring it up because it hurt my soul, the fact that it was a Christmas movie.
Well, Christmas hurts a lot of people's souls. Yeah. And to be fair, there was a kernel of a good idea here. It just the execution therein, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Speaking of getting ahead of myself, what didn't we like about the movie? So, Sam, take it away.
Boy. Now that everybody said nice things, I'm going to come off like a jerk.
I'll be the biggest jerk of ever. So
yeah, okay. No. But I mean, it's obviously, like you said, it teases you with the cover, which, you know, we've all the cover is lied to us so many times in movies, right? But like, you know, you're like, oh, well, this is going to be a werewolf movie, or this is going to be an Amityville movie, or this is going to be a haunted road movie. And I grew up with a haunted road in our town. And, you know, I did reading on Mount Misery Road. There's a gravity hill in Mount Misery Road. And if you guys have ever been on a gravity hill, they're awesome. There's one here in town where you literally put your car in neutral and it pulls you up the hill. Because it's like an optical illusion that makes it happen. I hate when people ruin magic, so I'm not going to explain to you how Gravity Hill works, because I'm like, oh, it's cool. It's fun, you know? But I think that there is so much that can happen here and nothing does. Like, it really feels like whenever you go visit somebody and like somebody you were friends with in college and had great times with, and they say, oh, we're going to take you some of the bars that we go to. And you go to that bar and you just sit there hearing somebody talk for 2 hours about stuff you don't know or care about. That's what this movie feels like. There's a lot of these, like, don't go there. And like, we're going to go there. Don't go there. We're not going to go there. And it's like, cool. Like, I'm glad we got out of that scene. And here we go. We're going to do that scene all over again. And it just feels like there's I was going to say, it feels like there's no structure. There's no structure. This movie embraces a complete Dada-ish lack of structure, but it doesn't become good in its craziness. But you know, they did it. It's, you know, I've written a lot of my first couple songs were really shitty too. But, you know, people had to suffer through my old bands. You know what I mean? And it's like, who knows if it ever got good, but it's better than it was then. So I guess maybe you have to go through that. By the way, their other movie is also on Tubi, The American Ripper from 2013. I haven't watched it yet, but I promise you guys I'll watch it this week and put it up on my site. Just now that I've seen that it's on there, I feel like Thanksgiving week is the perfect time to watch another movie by this duo. I feel like my soul's ready for it.
Well, Godspeed, sir.
Yeah.
You'll have to let us know how that goes.
I'm kind of with Sam on that, actually. I mean, I am willing to give this couple another chance just to see if they actually learned anything from the first movie so that the second movie is better.
Yeah. Plus, I've called my wife Buzi so many times now. Like, after this movie, we called each other a million times. And then, like, she sat in the room when I interviewed and she's like, try to get her on the phone. And she got on the phone and she was so nice. Like, Carolina was so nice. And like, I was like, man, we've made fun of this movie so much. And now I'm talking to them and they're the nicest two people in the world. So I felt like my heart got, what is it? The Grinch, like 3 sizes too small. It went the other way. I felt horrible. I'm like, oh, I've like abused this movie and now they're so nice. And now I'm going to try to atone, Ron, by watching the next one. I hope it's good. You know what though? We're talking about it, right? Like when people talk about it's a bad movie, I always said, well, you're talking about it. Something happened out of it. You know, it was enough to be memorable. Certainly better than any of the Sean Phillips Amityville movies that you guys have had to suffer through. You know,
I'm sure if they're as nice as you claim that they are probably aware that this movie is not the best that it could be, and they've probably had people tell them that now. But you know, having you here and the fact that you have already made contact with them, you can always point them to this podcast and have them watch this episode and see what they think.
Yeah, well, I was really mean in my review, and like I got an email from him. And he's like, hey, I love that review. It was great. And I'm like, my first reply was, did you read it? And he's like, yeah, you shit all over the movie. It was great. I was like, okay. And he goes, yeah. So, you know, and I was like, cool. Okay, we'll talk.
You know, that does remind me of the time that we covered House of the Dead. Mm-hmm. And I posted the link on Twitter, and then Uwe Boll liked it. And I thought, great. When is the boxing match going to happen?
Yeah, he didn't threaten to knock you out like all of the other critics.
No, he just started following me and like, hey, good review. I'm like, you watched it? You know, because we were kind of honest about that one too. But
did he mention anything about me? I'm sorry for interrupting, but did he mention it? Because I was extremely harsh about that movie, especially to him.
Not yet, but I can find out maybe. But Tom Dog, we were just going to ask you, what didn't you like about the movie?
Yes. What I didn't like about the movie was the song that that Bougie was dancing to in the bar.
Oh.
Gee,
I
Uh,
I did not like that song. It just kept repeating and repeating. And please tell me that what are you drinking, Uncle?
pain go away juice.
There you go.
This is actually sparkling strawberry juice. So
Oh,
drink responsibly, kids. I just did
is
comedy
it
effect.
cranberry?
Well, since I said strawberry,
Oh, okay. Never
that
mind.
would
I didn't pay attention to that because I was too busy laughing too hard.
well, that's what I'm here for.
There you go. But yeah, that song was dreadfully horrible. It just kept. It was playing on a loop. It sounded like it was playing on a loop, but it is definitely a lot. But definitely, it is no match for my favorite song from these bad Amityville movies. A hole is just a hole. That's my favorite song. That is my favorite song. And the camera shaking was a little bit excessive. And the guy that they were being interviewed, that was sitting with them at the restaurant, just kept repeating, "Do not go there. Listen to me. Do not go there. Do not go there. Do not go there." I'm like, dude, you already said it.
He's
But they
supposed to be
still
like the
went
guy
anyway.
that warns them in Friday the 13th. Like that guy only
Yeah.
warned them once, and they
Yeah.
still went. Like he's like, well, no, yeah, but he's like, if I warn them 400 times, they're certainly not going to go there. They still went there.
Yeah,
I,
and he just seemed a little bit upset about that, because he was like, "Oh, I've done interviews about this so many times, and I'm getting really sick and tired of it." I mean, that part was actually pretty good, but then when he started repeating the "Don't go there" and everything, it's just like, okay. And big question: what happened to Boozy's jacket while they were in the woods?
It got too hot to wear.
Yeah, she had a jacket, and then in the next shot, she doesn't all she had was like a long sleeve t-shirt and a sweatshirt. That was it.
Maybe the ghost took it.
That reminds me of a in continuity thing that I noticed I was going to point out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, Ron, what didn't you like about the movie?
Well, since I mentioned the in continuity, when it goes full on Blair Witch Project and Buzi is running through the woods, you see her from two different angles. One from the front where she's carrying a selfie stick and filming herself and talking into the camera, so that it's pretty obvious she's got a selfie stick and recording herself as she's running. But then when you see her from the back, where's the selfie stick?
Right.
Where did it go? She's flailing her arms as she's running, but we don't see that when she's recording as she's running. I'm like, huh, okay. So they probably ought to thought about that. They could have filmed her from the back running with the selfie stick, because we already knew why they were there, to record. That was the whole point of them going up there, to try to get paranormal activity on camera. But we never see the camera. Even though they take turns recording each other, we never see the camera. So that was the one small incontinuity that was like, huh, that's odd. Where's the camera? But what didn't I like about it? The very first thing I would have to say is the pacing. It is incredibly slow, because they drag out everything to meet their 77-minute runtime. I can't criticize this too much, because if you are not a professional editor of videos, you spend a hell of a lot of time watching the clips over and over and over again, deciding where you want to make your transitions, what you want to keep, what you want to toss out, cutting out the nonsensical stuff and all of that. So by the time you have a final edit that you think that you're okay with, you have completely lost the fact that it's just way too long. And you don't notice this in your mind. It takes other people watching the movie go, oh my God, that was so slow. You know, you could chop this down to probably about a half an hour and it would be fine. But they stated that Buzi was the one that did all of the editing. And if she's not a professional editor, then she probably doesn't know about stuff like that. So I'm willing to give her a pass, especially if this is the first movie. And if they were doing this editing on iPhones, which is a hell of a lot harder to do editing on an iPhone than it is on Adobe Premiere. So I'm willing to give a pass for that because you can lose the sense of timing after you've watched something so many times during editing. That's fine. The fact that the entire story takes about 45 to 50 minutes to build up before they ever actually even get to Mount Misery Road. It's just dialogue back and forth that they could have cut out a whole bunch of that and just made it more succinct. You know, there's build up. Okay, I'm expecting something to happen. Build up. And the only thing that really happens before they ever get to Mount Misery Road is the one dream sequence where Buzi goes to the bathroom, which I thought was like, okay, that's odd. Maybe it's some kind of a kink or a fetish that Chuck has. Who knows? But who am I to judge? Okay, I mean, Buzi's hot. Let's face it. Okay, Buzi got the booty. All right, whatever. They totally didn't need the bathroom scene. It could completely be cut out entirely, or maybe even implied, and it would not have changed the flow of the movie whatsoever, because the whole point of that was for her to see the demon standing behind her in the mirror, and that is your one big jump scare before they finally get to Mount Misery Road. Now, I'm okay with the whole dream sequence and the demon in the mirror and the jump scare and all of that, but you didn't need so much build up to it. You could have just gotten to it, you know, and then like, okay, we're at Mount Misery Road now, and cut out maybe at least 45 minutes of the movie to get to what we're actually trying to accomplish. So my big thing was really just the timing, because I like the idea of the story. I'm with Tom that I think it could just be called Mount Misery Road and still have been a decent story concept. Even if you probably could have just dropped it in the dialogue that, oh, this is up near the Amityville area of New York, and Amityville is known for its weird happenings around there because of the Amityville house, and that's the area that we're going to. That would give Buzi something to be excited about. The possibility of something paranormal happening when they go into the woods will be much greater just because of the area of New York that you're going into. So they could have worked that into the dialogue somehow, and it could have tied it back into the Amityville franchise just by even mentioning it, but they never did. I had to look it up. They could have
drove past the house if they wanted to. They were close enough.
Oh, look, you know, there's Ocean Avenue. There's the
yeah,
you know,
okay.
They could have done something like that, but they didn't. You know,
considering all the other movies we watch, they didn't even have to use the real house.
No.
Yeah.
Point out
just put up a CGI imprint like they did in Amityville Christmas Vacation. You know, that didn't even look like.
How many times are we referencing that movie? I mean, I want to be watching.
An angel gets its wings every time you guys say it. So there's a lot more going on in heaven tonight.
So really my one big critique about this movie was just the pacing. But because I know that they did it all themselves and that they were amateurs and they didn't really know much about movie making, I would actually like to see them remake this movie with all of the newfound knowledge that they gained from people critiquing it and making suggestions. Hire an actual writer to flesh out the script, to flesh out the storyline, to come up with some actual paranormal activities that they can film. And then take parts of this movie, film new parts, put it all together into something contiguous that makes a more well-rounded, fleshed out movie and storyline. And I have a feeling this movie would be 10 times better. And they could do that. I
would like them to have somebody make a movie that uses them making this movie as the movie. Like it's like this couple, they're rich, they decide to go shoot a found footage movie in the woods, but it's all true. And then
you know, it'd be even funnier than that if they do riff tracks for their own movie.
Yeah, I should suggest. I'm going to send him an email and tell him to do that because that would be great. I would love a commentary track. That's why when I got the DVD, I'm like, God, what if there's a commentary track and there isn't? It demands it.
But other than that, I mean, I don't really have a lot of negative critiques about this movie because I was certainly willing to cut them a lot of slack because I know that this is their first movie. They didn't have a lot of experience, and it's such a passion project and a low budget movie that I didn't really want to be too harsh on it.
Ron, are you feeling okay? Because I'm thinking back to the Amityville haunting last week. Meltdown. I know there's something going around, but you know,
you expected me to have much more of a negative rant.
I was kind of hoping.
Well, James, I will leave that in your very capable hands because you said that you had one that you would get to, and I don't want to steal your thunder.
It'll be a first, but sure thing. I'll try not to let everybody down. But before that, Friday, what didn't you like about the movie?
I am from Tennessee, the Appalachian area. So in Appalachia, you are taught about what you don't do in the woods. You don't go in the woods. You don't go look for things. If you think you hear your name in the woods, you didn't leave. You know, all that good junk. So they have all of that to pull on. They have all of that they could have looked up. And even if it's just them, he could have been walked off far in the woods and started making similar sounds. There are ways to have made this spookier with that alone. That and they switched creatures halfway through. Why are you switching creatures? What's the point? How can you be that enthusiastic about stones in the woods? No. Are you not trying? You know there's lore. You made lore for the movie. You picked the pieces. How can you not find the other lore? Because there are so many ways with just tiny bits of things that just the two of them could have did. Because if they wanted to lean more into the female aspect, they could have done so with her or the male aspect. They did a good job in trying to make a movie, but they did not do all the deep dive. They tried to make it appear they did. They put too much time into follow-up. They did not do the best follow-up. And I agree, that whole entire part where she's peeing should not have been in the movie. But there are so many things they could have done and cut out about 35% of the babes. Just 35% of the babes, and it would have made the movie better.
Is there a filter for that in Final Cut?
I wish.
Yeah.
Can we do a drinking version of the movie where every time he says babe or they say babe that, you know, we have to take a drink?
You would be dead.
Oh, that's a point in my notes I'll have to take off now.
15 minutes in.
Drinking game. Okay, there we go.
Oh, did I ruin that for you, James?
They see the snow. Where I come from, it is crisper and the cold is colder than the cold is down here. I would imagine if they've got snow, they would have had thicker coats. They would not have been walking around in pajamas. Why are you in the woods in your pajamas?
They're from Florida. They're from Florida now. He forgot what Long Island's like. He didn't only spent the first 30 years of his life there.
It's like the situation with the Jamaican bobsled team when they were training. They had no idea what Canada was like. So, yeah, there's that.
He was probably upset because he told her to hold her pee in there so she'd be warmer. And after that really long scene, too. So, oh, well.
I don't know. There's just so many boggling things. It's like, I know it's cold up north. It's colder than it is here. I would have made sure I had things like a coat, warm pants. Come on. How do you not know about long johns?
She's from Poland. Like, you would think that in Poland they wear long johns, right? She's like, oh, this weather's a lot closer to Poland than Florida. Maybe I should prepare for that. They got on the internet to look up the road. Nobody looked up the weather before they went there.
To be fair, where I'm from, long johns are a delicious donut-like thing that's filled with cream.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Or also a fish place.
Well, I love Long John Silver's, but still.
Oh, yeah.
I like the Long John donut, chocolate covered with the white cream in the middle. Mm.
Did your Long Johns when you were a kid have the boat of crumblies? Ours had you would get a boat full of crumblies, which was just the fat that came off. You know what I mean? And if you didn't get a boat of crumblies, your meal was free. That's why I'm fat to this day.
I would ask for them.
Yeah,
I would specifically more crumblies, please.
Yeah, 8-year-old fat Sam was like, "Oh, could I please have a boat full of fat?" And my parents totally were cool with that. You should pour malt vinegar all over it. Yeah.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Now I want fish. Thank you. There's
not just any
anywhere
fish.
Near Newton, which is saddening. I don't know. Do you want me to continue on this weird little
please,
rant about the movie, or do you want to continue or go with Tom Dogs?
Well, do you have anything else you didn't like about the movie? I guess.
Yeah, I put down in the chat that I also forgot to mention that they went into the woods without any supplies, and Buzi was complaining that, oh, I'm I'm thirsty and everything like that. No water, no canteen, and we're lost. No compass.
Their phones have compasses on them. They have phones.
They didn't have service.
Oh,
yeah, they didn't have service.
You can still do it. Oh, never mind. I love that every modern slasher movie now has a scene where they have to show you why the phones don't work. So people like me don't go, they had phones. There's always a scene where why aren't our phones working?
They didn't have their Amityville backpacks full of supplies.
Exactly. See if they'd just brought that.
Right. They forgot their fruit roll-ups.
Exactly. And their peanut M&Ms.
Mm-hmm.
One last thing.
Yeah.
They acted like they had a plot, but I'm not sure if they knew how to follow through with the idea that they had a plot.
They remind me of a lot of modern pro wrestlers that have a storyline for their match, but none of them have told you it. So you have to guess at yourself for what they have this amazing story, and then they tell you, well, that's why I did all that. And you're like, nobody knows that. You didn't. Nobody knows. Just go out.
Number one wrestling fan. Yes, I will agree with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in wrestling, they have one person, one opponent that has to play the heel, and the heel is the one that has to lose the fight so that the person that everybody likes can win. In this case, I think that Chuck played the heel.
Yeah. I thought he was going to turn on her totally by the end, and he really does. I thought it was going to completely possess him, and then he'd just be in the house by himself or something at the end. I don't know. I'm writing a better.
No, he just disappeared and was never seen in the movie again.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what happened to him.
I was kind of hoping
he did turn, because when she was going to pee in behind a tree or something like that,
he was filming her.
Turned.
I was kind of hoping she would be the one that would be possessed, and then when they find his body, you see the word "babe" carved into his torso.
Oh. She's eating it. She's like, finally, I found something to eat.
Yes.
Well, I mean, she did play the woman in white at the end, the lady in white. She was the one in that makeup. So they could have done something with that, where she's standing over his body or something like that.
You guys are making this such a better movie. I want to thank all of you for making me like this even more. Thank you.
Yes,
you are welcome. But
now you're about to destroy it.
Chaos. No, actually, Chaos has to tell us what he didn't like about the movie.
Of course, everybody's already mentioned the peeing scene. I do not want to hear about Buzi's booty ever again.
That's a catchy song, man. Come on.
Hard disagree, but go on, Chaos.
The fact that they picked when they were looking up this Mount Misery Road that they were going to go visit, they picked out a ghost lady, a demon hound thing, and for some reason a cryptid from a state or two down south.
Yeah, Mothman, from West
aka
Virginia.
Mothman.
Mm-hmm.
And before the trip, they were bragging about Mothman. During the trip and during the walk in the woods, it was all about Dogman. And then the end of the movie, Lady in White. They could not make up their mind for anything about what they were doing with this movie.
I don't want to scare you, but Mothmans have been moving north. Like they've been showing up in like Suffolk County and higher in Upper Virginia as well as Chicago. So there's a lot around the airports in Chicago. Why I know so much about Mothman, don't ask. But yeah.
Oh, that does remind me at the beginning of the movie when he gets the pictures and they're looking at all the pictures and it shows all the orbs, which, you know, basically specks of dusk or, you know, bad lighting when taking the picture. And like, that's what we're going up there to do. We're going to take some pictures and, you know, catch some orbs on camera. That never happens. They never mention it again.
No.
My grandmother used to go take pictures like that. My aunt would take pictures of her. My grandmother is this little like 4'10" Polish woman. And like, she's like, look at all the orbs around. And I'm like, don't put my grandmother into the occult. Like, don't make the unknown come after these Lovecraftian beasts come after her. Just let her live. Like, let her just live out the rest for years. But luckily, she was never possessed by like Buzi was at the end of this.
Okay, well, honestly, when I saw those pictures, I immediately thought, who sneezed on the pictures?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just me. Well, what I didn't like about the movie. Okay, here are my notes. So, this is not a movie so much as a loose collection of poorly edited scenes, including but not limited to extended opening shot of Charlie going vroom vroom in his Charger. Over 2 minutes of exciting getting and reading the mail action, followed by looking up haunted websites in real time. Pointless dancing at the bar to crap music. I'm not even going to mention the whole booty thing until just now, which I just did. Anyway, exciting boarding a plane, then drinking on the plane, and then sleeping on the plane. Wow. I can barely contain myself. And final reel of nothing but walking in the woods, filming every tree, at one point marveling at the snow. And that's not even, you know, like I said, drinking game, take a shot every time someone says the word babe. The word babe was used way too much today. But did we need to watch her pee? The answer is no. And I agree, all that focus on talking about the Mothman got my hopes up and then dashed them when it never happened. And I'm thinking just to make this better, at the end, it was the Mothman all along, but the Mothman must be played by Richard Gere. I'm just saying.
They could probably get Eric Roberts. Eric Roberts does these movies all the time, so they could have got Eric Roberts to be the Mothman.
No, the only way they'd get Eric Roberts is if they have a crying scene.
Yeah. If you say Eric Roberts' name and you're shooting an independent movie, he will show up. That's the new rule.
So,
and cry.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Addendum then. Eric Roberts plays the Mothman, but somebody runs in the back and sticks a quarter in his ass.
And then someone pees on him. Eric,
Yes.
we made a movie. Yeah.
Wow, that's a fetish movie right there.
Yeah. Well, it's getting close. It's an Amityville fetish. That's the next one.
Okay, so this is a movie that relies too heavily on talking a lot about ghosts and hauntings without ever showing something that's happening. The pictures and websites don't really count. And as I was mentioning to Friday and Chaos in the pre-show portion, that this is the all sizzle, no steak method of doing something, where you talk about it but don't really show it. It's show, don't tell. It's the opposite of that.
Yeah, I'm a fan of when movies take a long time to show the monster and only show it in shadows, but there's no monster. There's nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no monster.
No.
Paranormal Activity had a payoff.
Yeah.
The Blair Witch Project, whether or not you like the movie, still had stuff happening.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the dialogue is just painful in this. It was probably most entirely improvised. Nobody seems to have had any previous acting experience, with the addendum of maybe, I agree, this is their first movie, so maybe they've learned from this. It didn't seem in the interview that you posted on your website, bnsaboutmovies.com. Go there too. That they were taking more of a, well, if you don't like this, you can go fuck yourself, and I'd like to see you make a movie, yada yada yada.
Huh.
Which you get a lot of that kind of defensive stuff, but hopefully they took all the, we'll just call this constructive criticism, and took that to heart and kind of did better with their craft.
Yeah.
Because like I said, like everybody said, there was a kernel of something here that could have been really good if it was made properly. So sorry if that wasn't the Ron level rant that most people were hoping for, but yeah, those were my thoughts on the whole thing.
Fair.
Yeah. So
Jamie?
yeah, Friday.
Okay. Just to add, the Ron level rants are fun. The UncleNecRo level rants are fun. I look forward to any of them I get. Hence why I keep coming back. And then we've added Sam to the mix. And we've added Tom Dog to the mix. So this show just keeps on getting more entertaining. Hence why I keep watching the movies and coming back. And it gets so much better when Raz gets to school us in anything. And we love Pyle and his toilet paper roll. It all works. It's just one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it makes all yeah.
And if Dill had been here, she would have gotten us some choice screenshots too.
Yeah. Well, it kind of makes all the torture bearable, almost. So we're going to take some time right now. It's been over an hour. We're closing in on this podcast is going to be longer than the actual movie realm. So let's take a moment to pay some bills, and we'll be right back with more stuff.
Greetings and shabibans. We are the Retro Reductibus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Yeah, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Reductibus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games and movies, to cartoons and even snacks and school lunches.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Your King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brick.
You can listen to Retro Redoctopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
And welcome back. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? And I have to say, do you love Tomb of the Terrible? I mean, really love the Tomb of the Terrible. But you want more than just waiting week to week and finding out what our thoughts on movies are? Well, time to get your tub of Crisco out, because we have a YouTube channel that contains, I'm pretty sure, all of our only
Tomb of the Terrible.
Only Tomb of the Terrible. So you can go through every single movie that we talked about from the beginning, whether they be so bad they're good or so bad they're bad, to the my God, what am I doing with my life? I'm looking in your direction, Lamageddon, but you can access this anytime. So, before we go on here, Friday, what kind of books do we have to offer the unwashed masses?
Well, let's start out with Raz's new book that is amazing. Sophia just moved to a new town, and there's this creepy house next door, and she finds these weird shadow creatures there. Her and her new friends try to figure out how to stop them and remove them from their town before they do something much worse. And I can honestly say it is Sophia approved.
Okay.
Then Honesty in Verse. It is our new only poetry and only art anthology, where we have UncleNecRo, we have Ron, we have me, and Raz, and so many others who have given us poetry for this book. And my kid, Cassie, she has art in it. I have art in it. And my sister, both my sisters, to be honest, Stevie and Mel. And of course, guys, if you haven't read Nightmare Whiskers, you got to come see these monsters we found and made, or we're trying to warn you about. A lot of them we're just trying to warn you about. And then in the Owlite Menagerie, you can find anything from Groundhog Day in the mental asylum to the angel that has decided, yes, that hurts, but we should probably see what we can do. And there's so many others, because we got Curtis M. Lawson, we got Rob Smales, we got Carrie Lee Sanders, we have us, Ron and UncleNecRo. And all the proceeds for the first year goes to the Pro Literacy Foundation. Every adult has the right to literacy. Please either donate or buy our book, and we will donate for you. And the worst you get is some really stellar stories, man. Because I'm not saying you have to read mine, but their stories are great. Their poetry is great. Their art is great. Please check all our new stories.
Yes.
You may want to put a fine print on honesty in verse. It had said at the bottom, do you have a copy yet? Which is unlikely since it hasn't actually been released yet.
Yeah, it comes out in December. I think I
Well.
downloaded the wrong thingy. It comes out December 15th. So it is next month that it comes out in. Please pre-order and check out all the new stuff. I am really proud of my girls. They are 10 and they are 12. And they have been brave and put themselves out there with their art. And we have published them, and we are trying to show them their art is just as important as all the stuff we are doing here. And yes, this is bravery, putting ourselves out and letting you see our inner mind.
Oh yeah. So, very good. Yes, get them all, and especially when the poetry comes out. I never thought I'd hear myself say, "Hey, I'm in a collection of poetry," but here we are. That I believe is the one of the signs of the coming apocalypse. But we are now at the ratings and recommendations portion of the show. So, between 0 to 10, Sam, what would you give this movie? And would
Give
you
it a 4. I'm going to be, because you know what? Again, I've watched it a bunch of times. I actually brought my copy out. I love that this has a slipcover, like for the collectors out there that collect this media has a slipcover. And look at the price on it. I did buy this. It was $3.99. There's the price. But yeah, the back cover makes it look really intimidating too. We have the Mothman and Mount Misery Road and Buzi, a couple pictures of her, and then there's so like by the cover, if you see this, you're like, man, like that looks awesome. So that's probably like at least 2 or 3 of the points out of my 10 is right here. But
that is a nice cover.
Yeah, like they did. Like if you saw this at Walmart, you know, it says be careful what you search for. They mean the DVD itself. Like be careful, don't pick this up. It's like The Ring. There's something in it, but you know what? It's fine. I'm excited to watch their next one. Yeah,
they only need to sell 624 more copies to get their budget back.
It's a Jersey. When the Kids in the Hall series was on, like that's how it started. Someone bought a copy of Brain Candy for $0.25 at a yard sale. I'm like, we're finally profitable. We've done it 35 years later. So yeah, maybe my $4 went to it. If I talk about it enough, too, like I feel like I'm helping them by because people are always like, oh, what's the Amityville movie I should watch? And I'm like, well, that one because it's really rough. And then people inevitably, when you throw the gauntlet down like that, as you guys did, Derek, well, Sam's watched like 75 Amityville movies, and he said that this one was one of the harder ones to watch. I mean, certainly I should go through that same, or you run. Either you're like, oh, that seems like a good challenge. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like a theme park kind of thing. Like, yeah, I'll ride that roller coaster. And yeah, so it's not really a roller coaster though. It's much of a roller coaster as you're in a hotel room, you're in a plane, you're in a bar. UncleNecRo, I would go even further than your review and say, I wish they made this into an HBO series where everything was in real time. So we'd get like an 8-hour episode of them going on different planes and getting connections and trying to waiting for their, just one episode's waiting for their luggage to come down the return while Buzi's like, I just want Starbucks. And that's the whole episode. I want it.
Kill me.
I know. I want like a box set as big as the Dark Shadows set. That Dark Shadow set that forms Jonathan Frid's corpse, like that weighs like 40 pounds. I want an Amityville Mount Misery Road giant box set. I'm the only person in all of the multiverse that wants a maxi series of this. You know what I mean? But I would drink it up. Anyway, that's my review. 4 out of 10.
Okay. Well, Tom Dog, what would you rate this and would you recommend it?
I will be a little bit fair about it, and I would give this I will agree with Sam and say I will give this a 4 out of 5. I mean, a 4 out of 10 rather. There was some creativity, like I said, and just cashing in on the Amityville name. It would have been like at least maybe like a 5 or a 6 if Mount Misery Road did not cash in on the Amityville name. And of course the chemistry between the two couples there was good and everything, and yeah, and there was something there, and I'm gonna see, I'm gonna see that other one because that other one that they made, I'm gonna check that out, see how it is, and who knows, maybe we will review that in a future. It will be reviewed in a future Two Minute Terrible, because American Ripper, that does have a pretty unique title to it, and everything, and but yeah, 4 out of 10.
All right.
And would I recommend this? It's pick your poison. you know it's like it's totally up to you, and I mean, I won't recommend it, but if cheesy film found footage genre is your thing, give this a look see and everything. I mean, this is their first project, so I won't be too harsh on it and everything. So, but yeah.
Okay. All right. So a couple of 4s right now. Ron, what do you rate this, and would you recommend it?
Well, first off, I'm going to call it, and I think that we most definitely should review American Ripper. We should definitely put it on the calendar. I would like to do that, to make an episode of that. For this particular movie, I was sitting here thinking about it, and I was going to give the movie a 3 just for the movie itself, because I do think that there is a lot that they could do to make the movie better, to improve upon it. But it's certainly not as bad as some of the other Amityville movies that we have watched. So I feel like 3 is a fair score, but I started thinking about it, and I really want to bump it up just for that Buzi Got Booty song, because that's a banger, man. I mean, come on. That whole song itself just kind of made me crack up when I heard it in the movie. So I'm just like, all right, I'll give it, I'll bump it up to a 4 just because that song's a banger and I can put it on repeat.
Before you put on Amityville Ripper, I mean, not American Ripper, I looked up the summary. Bobby, an attorney, and his wife Lola, played, of course, by the same 2 people from this, move into a new house located on a beautiful lake. As soon as they settle in, bizarre things happen. When Lola discovers the house and the lake have sinister secrets, it's too late for both of them. Spoiler warning. Bobby becomes a delusional maniac murderer who turns into a disturbing psychopath. Wouldn't you be a psychopath before your murder? Torturing Lola and killing anyone who comes his way. Okay, now I want to see it.
Well, that sounds a lot like Amityville itself.
Yeah,
exactly. I was going to say.
Basically the plot.
Yeah.
Wait a tick.
Is there a boat dock? Is there a red room?
Right?
Yeah.
As far as whether or not I would recommend this movie, I would say not this version. Because I would still like to see them remake this movie the way that it should be made. And I want to watch that, see if it's any better. And if it's good, then I'll recommend that version, but not this one.
Okay. Well, that brings us to Friday. What would you rate this movie, and would you recommend it?
I would give it a 4 because of this, being able to do this and continue to do this and stay married is an amazing feat. They did it. They went out and they accomplished it. And where there's all of what they've done with it deserves at least a 4. Now, if we have or end up with those fans that want to go on our very odd path we are forging with this series, yes, definitely watch it. Otherwise, only if you want to go on the path of the Amityville torture that we collectively are trying and Sam has done, definitely do that. I didn't even think about even wanting to do so until Bill said we were doing it, and now I don't regret the path. I am starting to regret some of the movies, but I'm glad I've done it.
I believe that's called masochistic flagellation. So
As we dance through the masochism tango.
Chaos, what would you rate this, and would you recommend it?
I have to be slightly different. I am gonna keep it at a 3 because the main thing the movie had going for it was the fact that they did this all by themselves.
Okay.
It gets a 3 because it was a movie. They had the attempt. They couldn't. It's almost like they couldn't figure out what direction they wanted to go with it. But I will keep it at a 3 for the simple fact they made this movie, they put it out there, and they did it all, just the two of them.
Okay. Do you recommend it? Did you already say?
Yeah, no.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. Once again, UncleNecRo is going to be kind of the bad guy here. Somebody has to be. And I hear all of you. I understand where you're all coming from, and I defend your right to your assessment of the movie. However, I am going to start this by saying that if I don't have to be owning a 4-star Michelin restaurant to know what bad food tastes like. I don't have to be Gordon Ramsay. This is a bad movie. Yes, they did it all themselves. Yes, they made a movie that they managed to put out and have selling in Walmart. Bravo. It's still a bad movie. Now, I do want to point out that I originally was going to give this a 0. But then, thinking about it, even though it's a bad movie, and I've seen really, 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 really bad movies in my time, I now give them a 1. I'm being generous. Simply for the fact that it takes a lot of guts to put something like this out there for other people to talk about. Now, I'm not just going, here, this sucks, and then not explain why I think it's not a very good movie. I believe we've all did a pretty good job at explaining that. However, I'm not giving it a 4, like it seems the medium is, but I'm sticking at the 1. And whether or not this is just a slug to get through, I'm sorry. But as far as recommendations, it depends on how evil I'm feeling that day. If somebody asks me, hey, do you think I should watch it? Probably not. Whether or not I know that person's movie preferences. If they're really chipper and can you recommend a scary movie for me? I'm like, watch this one. He. Yeah, I'll do it like that. So anyway, we have 5-star reviews, people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. On Amazon.
Is it from Chuck and Carolina?
No. No, this is finger looking good. Yes, that's where the Crisco comes in, people. But this is from Lisa Ann, titled Hey Babe, because of course it is. I know this is a very low budget, and the lead characters can be annoying, constantly saying "Hey, babe" to each other, and some of the acting, but I found this so bad it was good. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, and even though a lot of things didn't really add up, but I found it fun to watch. And for me, getting lost in the woods would be a nightmare. It was creepy at the end. Give it a shot if you like found footage type films and are not too picky and like low budget films like I do. Okay. Then we have Helen Mitchum. It's good. My husband enjoyed the movie, and me too. Holy cow, the grammar. And the final one, Anderson. So bad that it's fantastic. Wow, fantastic. So bad it's fantastic. Great film to watch with friends. I would have to agree with that. If you're going to watch it, do it with friends, especially those who are good at riffing.
Mass quantities of alcohol.
Mass quantities of alcohol, yeah. So Sam, do you have anything to add to that? Usually at this point, when you're not on, Dell gladly reads your review from your website, but you're here now.
Oh yeah. No, well, let me see. I don't even remember my review. Let's take a look at my review if you guys would like. Let's see.
Sure.
Amityville, Mount Misery Road, and there's the interview too. There's a picture of them singing together.
All right, this is an internet first, people. Sam's going to read his own review live on YouTube.
Know. Let's see. I'm trying to find something good here. This film is a true auteur project. They did everything. Let me see if I say. I'm trying to find something funny, not just me saying. I really have no idea to review what I just watched. It's like someone made their own movie just for themselves, but along the way, someone watched it with them and said, "You guys should sell that." Just trying to be nice, and then they did. It really feels like a passion project between the couple. And hey, they really did make a movie and get it on streaming services and into actual stores, put on DVDs. And it does take effort to make a film, even one as astonishingly bad as this one. So I can't hate it. Some people like to dress their dogs. Others like to flip homes. It seems like these folks like to use iPhones to make movies about ghosts. Whether you feel like encouraging by spending $10 for it is up to you. If I had the opportunity to get a line on this cover, it'd be edited down to say, "Not since Manos: The Hands of Fate, ... astounded by a film." They would take a lot out. The IMDb review page for this is astounding, filled with 1-star and 10-star reviews and nothing in between. Save one review that gives it 4 out of 10 and says this movie deserves more than 10 stars. Why didn't they give it 10 stars? I can't believe it exists. I'm not sure that it should, but if they decide to make a sequel, yeah, I'll probably watch it. So this movie was sent directly to me by Chuck. Obviously, that has nothing to do with the quality of a review that he has given. And there's a picture of it on the shelf in Walmart, right next to movies like Rust Creek, Hellgirl, Megalodon, not smelled like the Meg, and The Music Box, and Tooth Fairy, which was a evil Tooth Fairy film that came out the same time as the Rock's movie, where he was the Tooth Fairy, hoping that you'd say, "Oh, this is the movie with the Rock in it," and take it home and realize that this movie cost $300 to make.
There was a surprisingly big amount of Tooth Fairy based horror movies that came out.
Yeah. Now everybody, those same people are very excited because they can make Popeye movies and Mickey Mouse movies. And like, so we're going to get
the Slayer Man.
The Slayer Man. Yeah. Someone said that to me, like, I figured you'd be excited about this. And I wonder right back, I got taste. And I was like, no, I don't.
They're doing one for Steamboat Willie now.
Yeah. I know. And there's all the Winnie the Pooh ones. And it's just like, do we need these? But I guess, like you guys said, why do they call this Amityville? Because it's an IP that people are like, oh, you're looking at the idiot that watches all these movies. If this was called Mount Misery Road, I would have never watched it. I would have never hit my radar. It was called Amityville, Mount Misery Road. Oh, I injected in my eyes like heroin. That's how I am about these movies. So will I watch Amityville Turkey Day? Yeah, on Turkey Day. Probably right after the Parade and the Dog Show. So yeah, I got a problem. Luckily, I can come on to shows like this and talk about it. If I can recommend a Christmas movie for you guys, though, that you guys should do. Have you guys done Elves yet? Have you done Elves yet? Yeah.
No.
Oh my God. It's my favorite Christmas movie. It's about at the end of World War II, the Nazis created a eugenics program to make elves into the perfect race for the Fourth Reich. It also has incest, a shopping mall, a Santa Claus on cocaine. Dan Haggerty from is in it as a Santa, a mall Santa, and it's amazing. It's one of my favorite. It has a death in a bathtub scene, which I always love. A radio in the bathtub, a favorite thing for me to see happen in a movie. So yeah, I completely recommend it. It's great.
You had me at Dan Haggerty.
Oh. So I actually did an interview with the first director, James Conway, that worked with him, that did all the Sun Classic movies. Like they did his series, and then they also did like In Search of Historic Jesus and In Search of Noah's Ark. So I got to actually ask him about all the fake stuff that's in Search of Noah's Ark. They had a piece supposedly that was of Noah's Ark for that movie, and they found out years later that the guy was a hoaxer that gave it to them, and he had basically put barbecue sauce and iced tea on it and heated it up on his grill and to make it look like it was aged. So when they carbon dated it, they said, this is from 1975. This is not from Noah's Ark.
Apparently,
it aired on NBC twice too.
Apparently, in the time of the patriarchs, the wood tasted great. Nom.
Yeah, so
I'm
obsessed with
everything.
Beyond Amityville movies, 70s documentaries about religion, my all-time favorite movies. But yeah, so In Search of Historic Jesus is super awesome. So yeah, but Elves is real good. So if you guys want to gather around and find a movie, there's a scene in it where this family is just trying to eat their Christmas Eve dinner. And this girl comes in and she's like, tell me about the eugenics experiment that the Nazis did on elves. And the guy's like, sit down, let me tell you. And his whole family, he's like carving a turkey while he's explaining to them about it. And it's like, God, it's one of those movies every year. I'm like, this is the year it's coming out on Blu-ray. This is the year that some label's going to be crazy enough to release it. Nobody ever is.
Normally my family would just watch like Mickey Mouse's Christmas Carol, but I don't know. We need to spin the wheel to see what we're tortured with next week. So whenever we're ready for that.
I'm so excited about this.
Can you see it?
No.
Nope. Sam, it's funny that you should mention elves because I was scrolling TikTok earlier today and I saw a clip of it on TikTok.
Oh, man. It is great.
There it is.
I'm big. I'm in big and
there we
go.
Nope. Nope.
What are we doing? No.
What's happening?
Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
There.
There it is. Okay.
There we go.
Oh.
3 movies left on the wheel.
We'll take this one.
What do we got?
No escape.
No escape.
No escape. There is no escape from these movies, people.
Right?
Oh. I'm going to watch Amityville Turkey Day this week and send it to you guys. I'll be posting it. I've really put it off. I saw the cover and I was like, I can't watch this. And like, I've been putting it off for like a month and I'm like, there's another one coming out called Amityville AI.
We had it on the wheel, but then Tom Dog said something about Amityville Backpack.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that needs to go in place of Amityville Thanksgiving.
I actually wrote a song for that review. I rewrote Stroke 9's little black backpack as Amityville Backpack and wrote a little song about it.
Interesting. So
that is awesome.
So Sam, where can we find you?
bnsaboutmovies.com. Also, that's the name of the podcast. And you can listen to me rant on all sorts of movies. This week's movie is Ghost Fever, the movie that Sherman Hemsley lost all of his money for and had to make Amen after the Jeffersons because he spent all his money on this horrible movie. Also, a lot of people think that Sherman Hemsley made most of the PCP in LA after that. I get into it. Also, every Saturday night, I host a video cast with my friend Bill Van Wren, Driving Asylum double feature. This week, we are doing See No Evil, a movie where someone gets blind after being thrown off a horse and a killer comes after them. And we are also doing, what is the second movie? Raw Force from 1982, a movie about a cruise ship driven by Captain Cameron Mitchell, who ends up coming to an island that's just like Mortal Kombat 8 or 9 years before Mortal Kombat, and there's a lot of kung fu, a lot of nudity, a lot of drinking. It's like half Porky's, half zombie, about a quarter of a movie. It's pretty great. And there's drink recipes on the site. I make actual cocktails during the movies to show you how to stay alive during the movies. The drink for Raw Force has 13 shots of alcohol in it. It is brutal. If you can get through that, you can get through the movie. But that's a good place to find me. Thanks for having me again, guys. Sorry I missed a couple weeks. I've been lining up a new job and just got to start next week. And so yeah, it's been exciting. Yeah.
Congratulations.
You're welcome anytime.
Yeah. So I'm glad to come in and talk about this movie with you guys. I'm glad that you made it. I feel like we're in a club now. We're blood brothers.
Your description reminds me, we need to get zombie strippers on the wheel sometime after this season, because hilarious. But
I have another one for you guys too. There's one other one I want you guys to get on because I'm trying to get more people to watch it. Sorry. The Mummy Theme Park. That's one of my favorite movies. It's basically shot in a closet in Italy. It's about someone buys the pyramids and decides to make a theme park. Large chunks of this movie are about the merchandise that they sell, how much beer costs, what kind of beer you carry in a mummy theme park. Also, you learn that mummies can only be defeated by breasts. It's true. It's great. The effects are awesome. It cost about $200 to make. I talked to the director, the one guy did everything. And he's crazy. Now he makes automatons for a living, and they're all very disturbing. I tried to get the rights for a company, and the contract he sent back was equally insane of why none of his movies can be released anymore. They're only on YouTube now. So he made 5 movies, each one progressively more upsetting. So if you guys ever want to get deeper than Amityville, oh God, I'll get you into the movies of this guy. They're bad. But thanks again for having me, Tom. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay.
So, Tom, where can we find you?
Before I do, I just want to give a quick happy Thanksgiving to everybody here. I am thankful to be a part of this this journey. That's what I'm truly thankful for and everything. So yes. Chug.
Where can we find you?
Okay. You can find me on YouTube at Tom Arcade 69. I actually got a show coming up on this Thursday on Channel X. It's a Thanksgiving episode. It's kind of been a tradition since I've been on YouTube. And so it's just going to be a laid back show. Anybody can come on if they want to. And so yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. And of course, Wrestling Prime on Saturday, got the Survivor Series review to do, and there's only one way to find me and everything like that, and that's face hug that subscribe button.
Okay, Ron, where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook under my author page, Ronald W Gillespie Jr. -author, for all things that I'm doing as far as my writing goes. Also, make sure that you check out Honesty in Verse when it's released next month. I have 3 poems in it, and they are epic fantasy poems, so they are rather long, of I think like 6,000 words or so. I'm quite proud of the work. It's the longest poetry I've ever written, and I'm really curious to see what people think about it. Outside of that, you can also find me on TikTok under @WolfDojo, WULFDOJO. I'm a martial artist by training, and I try to make martial arts content for TikTok. So if that's the kind of thing that you're into, then check it out, and let me know what you think there. Otherwise, you can find me here on Allied for Tomb of the Terrible and Padded Cell, and sometimes Allied Society.
Okay. Friday, where can we find you?
First, search the YouTube. It's under Tomb of the Terrible. If you want to join the club chat room, we are in the group's called Tomb of the Terrible on Facebook. And for those in the show, I've put the link to find it in the chat, in our army chat. If I'm everywhere. I'm on Fake Horror. I'm on Owlite. I'm on my own pages, Friday with the Library in the Blue Box. And my author page is under Jennifer Elliott. And I am so grateful to be in multiple books with all these people. And I'm so grateful that, okay, I know I keep harping on this. My kids finally decided to be brave enough to do what we did and put their art in anthologies with us. I'm so grateful that we got to be in anthologies with them. And I just can't get past how proud I am of that.
As well you should. So, Chaos, where can we find you?
First of all, this review is officially 32 minutes longer than the movie is.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
And I am still in the closet.
Okay.
Because she won't let me out.
Okay. Well.
Free me!
Nope, not gonna happen.
Not going to test that one. And I am as always, your humble servant, Uncle Necro. You can find me in eastern Nebraska on a farm in the middle of nowhere, yelling at clouds. And also, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, now, currently known as X. I'm also on Blue Sky, and somehow I have a author fan page on Facebook too. Hey, become a case file. That's all I can say. Also, of course, I do the Tomb of the Terrible. I'm part of the Owlite Network and part of the Fake Horror as well. So until next time, remember to spay and neuter your friends and seek help.
Run.
Got through that.
Hiding.